What's up, you nerds? Welcome back to Yellow Spandex. You Spandex lovers, I know you're back. Man, we got a bunch of stuff to talk to you about this week. Take it away.
Well, I guess it kind of started off, the Disney Quarterly just happened. I think everybody was expecting them to be sweating it, you know?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So, fortunately, I guess people didn't think about it before. The quarter ended like March 28th, I think. So, as far as like American impact, there was only really like a week or two.
Ooh, okay.
Like not even 2 weeks, like a week-ish that hit them. So they actually had really good numbers.
Nice.
And they said the only arm of Disney that had lower numbers or losses were theme parks. But that's because at that point, all the overseas theme parks have been closed for a couple months.
Yeah, that's got to be a huge loss, huge deficit.
But they're opening back up on May 11th.
So May 11th is like...
Well, not the U.S. ones, the Shanghai one.
Oh, okay. Japan or China.
What is interesting, because it goes along with like what I had asked my Korean relatives about. They're just going to do things that like will allow like them to be doing that, you know, unless another breakout happens. So like, you know, half capacity. You have to make reservations ahead of time to just enter the park, and face masks are required for everybody, which is interesting because like the Asian theme parks, almost everybody's wearing a mask anyway, and it's probably a little bit rude if you're not before this even happened. So It's not going to change much for them except for the half capacity and reserving ahead of time. But I've already kind of seen a little bit of the arguments online saying that that's not going to happen in the States because everybody's going to cry that's like against freedom or something. But like it's so that's going to be the litmus test though, like the canary in the coal mine kind of idea. Like if the international parks, you know, they'll see. They don't know. They don't know if it's going to be like overrun because everybody just wants to get out, or if people are going to like kind of let people go in waves, you know, like
interesting.
See how it happens. But the movies, they said I didn't know this. I guess Disney owns the rights to Tenet, the distribution or something, but they didn't make it. So they're going to throw that movie out first.
Okay.
Like sometime in the summer, I think. I don't know.
Is that because
exactly.
it was a Fox property or something?
Was it a Fox? I don't know. I
mean, that would make sense.
But they're going to throw that out there the week before Mulan's scheduled to release. And they're going to keep an eye on each day of the opening weekend because Tenet will be the only movie in theaters. And if it, you know, I guess that they're going to gauge if they're going to do any more movies from then on. They said the only one they've committed to digital is Artemis Fowl. So they've even kind of denied that they've made any hard decisions on New Mutants.
Actually, did you see the New Mutants thing that happened?
So I saw that they like it had listed on Amazon and then got taken off.
Yeah.
What was the thing?
Well,
it was like a pre-order.
Yeah, for $25 or something.
Mm-hmm. It's actually still up in UK.
So like there was I don't know if there was an official statement for it, but some like analysts or whatever had mentioned like it's equal chance that it was just there to prepare for like the release like they normally do with movies. Because I know like even before the pandemic, like if like when Endgame came out and it was in theaters, you could pre-order it on Amazon like for, you know, months later when it finally did come out. I guess they just want to bookmark your money or something.
Interesting.
But they said it was that, but it was at that price point, that $24.99. That was like, because there was that theory
advertised before, right?
Well, so the going rumor right now is that some studios, I guess Disney maybe, is going to be testing the Trolls idea with the $20 rental,
right?
But for $25 you could own it.
Okay,
like trying that model. So I saw the New Mutants listed for like $24.99.
Yeah,
and so that was like curious pricing for an opening movie that's not really expected to do well. You know?
Interesting. Yeah.
So like that might be that model where it's like, okay, it'll be $20 to rent, but $25 to own.
And this is where they'll make the money if it goes well.
We'll see. I don't know. I don't know what they're waiting on. Like, but they said during the meeting that the only thing that is like concretely made like has been changed is Artemis Fowl is going directly to Disney Plus, and everything else is fluid. Supposedly, I don't know.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Because they're still weighing if people are going to see movies, you know? Like,
I'm sure that Artemis Fowl will pull some more people to subscribe to Disney Plus.
I don't know. I feel like
it was an interesting trailer.
I think it's a nice like bonus, but I also don't know. So we have a friend that we saw Onward with.
Yeah.
And at the beginning of that, there was a trailer for Artemis Fowl. I was vaguely familiar that it was a book, but our friend Ryan, huge Artemis Fowl fan. and just from the trailers, he was like, they've already gotten the entire franchise wrong. And so he was just upset about that adaptation of it.
Yeah.
And so I'm not sure if like that's exactly a draw to Disney Plus. You know, I think my core tells me it's a nice bonus for people who already have it. You know,
Right.
Yeah.
like it doesn't seem like, because I didn't even know, there was nothing for me to be excited about because I wasn't familiar with the property. And it seems like the fans of the property
Maybe that's why
we're not fans of like the treatment.
Yeah. Maybe that's why it's kind of just going towards that.
Yeah. That's why I figured New Mutants, like I agree with Grace, like it'd be a great idea to just throw it on Hulu and be like, hey, sign up for Hulu.
Yeah, I mean, it makes sense. Makes the most sense to me. But, you know, maybe they're just
I don't
trying
see why.
to soak it, you know, for as much money as they can get it for, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't see why not.
Did you see that Tom Cruise and Elon Musk want to shoot a movie in space?
Wow.
I didn't hear that, but that whole sentence makes sense right now.
It says it will not be a part of the Mission Impossible franchise, which was like the first thing I was like, oh, it's totally going to be Mission Impossible. It's going to be like in space, you know? So,
Well, the first thing I think of is how small Tom Cruise is and how I would love to see Mork and Mindy come back, but have Mork's like origin story, and then the very end of the movie is that he meets Mindy.
You know, it's going to be interesting to see that pair do something like that. Mainly because, you know, it's supposed to be for like the innovation of it, right? To be shooting in space and stuff. But like Tom Cruise notoriously has like crazy contracts and writers. Mm-hmm. Like I heard, what was it? Was it the last Mission Impossible? No, the Mummy remake was rewritten so his character would be younger, so that he could like remain attractive. And I think it was that movie, or maybe the Mission Impossible, or both, where his body is CG'd in each movie so it doesn't appear as old.
Wow.
So like if he has a shirt off, then they airbrush like the chest
That's
and stuff
insane.
and things. Like it's part of his whole like brand protection stuff. So it's
Brand protection.
So it's just like it'd be really interesting to see those stipulations in space.
yeah.
Gosh, that dude is so rich.
Were you was he in Mork and Mindy at some point in time?
No.
I'm like, what? Like, that's not a Tom Cruise.
For one,
thing.
the reason it pulls me to that is because Elon is known for loving those type of spoofy, goofy movies like Spaceballs and
I will say I loved Mork and Mindy when I was little.
So did I. And Robin Williams, you know, like that's a big shoes to fill as far as that like physical comedy that Mork and Mindy brought to the television screen. You know?
think Tom Cruise could pull it off?
I just thought it would be like if Elon Musk and Tom Cruise do something, what would be the goofy thing that they would do? And it'd be like a Mork and Mindy origin story.
Did you see? Speaking of space, did you see the trailer for Space Force?
No.
Yes, I did.
It looks exactly like you had imagined it, because like they're like from the creators of The Office, starring Steve Carell. And it's like a cross of The Office and like Idiocracy in space, you know?
Wow.
Because like Steve Carell's just kind of like, I don't want anything to do with this, and like, and you're going to be in charge, and then he's just trying to figure it out, you know? But everybody doubts him. Like in the trailer, like one of his employees walks by and he's like, "This is a total shit show." Like he doesn't know what he's doing,
Oh.
and then Steve Carell overhears it, and he's like, "Oh, I'm talking to my vacuum cleaner repair," or something like that. Like,
What platform is that on?
I think Netflix.
I don't know.
Oh, Netflix.
I think this is a Netflix exclusive.
Jeez. So you guys out there, you know, already watched half of Netflix. Here's a new show you can go
Dude,
find.
Netflix, there's so much stuff. Did you hear Netflix is poised to buy Viacom?
What?
No way.
So like, it sounded crazy, and then same thing. The things I watched about it, they were like, I know it sounds crazy, but on the business terms, Netflix is like one of the only companies right now that can guarantee future profit no matter the outcome of pandemic. And
Yeah.
and
I
so
guess
like
huh?
that means they would like own like Paramount, CBS, like MTV, or whatever's left of MTV, and like a few things like that, you know. And it's like, that'd be crazy. And they're like, that would almost put them on the level of Disney, but in a different way. Not necessarily films, but just like in another
like
corner of media.
Maybe like a Universal.
So
Kind
like,
of scary how things consolidate like that, you know?
Yeah.
yeah.
But at the same time, we got like stuff, you know, like Netflix or you know, streaming anything. Anybody can put out a movie, you know? So,
Yeah. Well, yeah, like I mean, right now, I don't know. Like YouTube has just been like, I feel like killing it. Like just watching stuff. Like John Krasinski's Some Good News. It's alone. He's like kind of just revitalizing like YouTube. You know,
I haven't seen the new one yet.
but just like everybody's shows. I mean, the late night shows are all super cringy. You know, like I don't personally like them. They're all, like awful. But like they're still. I'm guessing they're still pulling in numbers. You know. Mm-hmm. So like everybody, the eyeballs have turned to like digital, you know, because Netflix I feel like serves like one corner of a purpose, but like I'm in two different moods when I'm looking up a Netflix film or show or video versus like a YouTube video, you know. Mm-hmm. So
yeah, I mean, I feel the same way, man. I'll be cruising through some Hulu, and then I'll take a break, go over to Netflix, watch a few things, but then when I go to YouTube, it's like a completely different beast. Like I'm not going there for like to find shows or something like that. I'm going there to find like this like further intriguing information, more specific, because you're like actually typing it in. That's what I love about YouTube though, because you could pretty much throw in whatever you want, and the probability of finding it is a high probability.
Mm-hmm. Oh, yeah. What else we got before we get into the movie? Let's see here. Sorry.
Tom Cruise, Amazon,
That's
Charlie.
right.
I didn't see this Charlie Cox thing.
The movie.
Apparently, he came out I think a week or so ago, and there were so many of these rumors, of Daredevil being in the new Spider-Man movie.
Oh.
Apparently, the rights haven't gone from Netflix back to Disney yet for Daredevil.
Okay.
So, but apparently that's going to happen this year. But he said, I haven't heard anything of that. I just want to kind of dispel that. If there is a Daredevil in it, it's not me.
That blows.
Yeah.
That reminded me though. There is like big news that Taika Waititi was announced on May the 4th.
Yes.
That he'll be directing a Star Wars film right after Love and Thunder.
Yeah.
Not sure if I'm happy about that. I mean, I love him. I just don't know if that's a good move.
The guy's been striking it pretty smoothly, pretty focused. A lot of comedy. I don't know. I feel like
I gotta wonder if they've just given up on trying to like placate a fan base, because like I don't know the numbers. I'm curious to know if the numbers are like majority of the income comes from just like people like me who are just like kind of I like Star Wars movies, and stuff, but I'm not like Josh. I'm not like really into the universe, and stuff. And they just done the numbers and are like, listen, just get him to make a funny movie that people will watch, like.
Dude,
well, I feel like that was from the beginning when Disney bought them. I really feel like that was the thing, is like, we don't need to cater to the fans. We're just going to do what they want or what we want. And that's kind of the mentality, I think, that was not a good move for them. There's definitely some good arguments for and against, probably against, especially the prequels. Mm-hmm. But as an arc, they're way better to watch than the newer movies. It's just, it was such like they didn't know what they were doing and put all this stuff together that, you're taking over a universe that's been, I don't know how long, since the late 70s,
Yeah.
And Kathleen Kennedy, the lady in charge, I think we talked about this on one of the podcasts, she straight up was like, Marvel has all this, lovely source material, and we don't have that to work with. And it was like, what? Are you kidding me?
Oh, God.
So I really feel like, especially because the Clone Wars stuff just ended yesterday.
Oh, okay,
I got to watch that yesterday, and it was great. I mean, it was
man.
just, and that show, pretty much most Star Wars fans love that show.
Yeah.
So, and the guy that did that show, directed it, Dave Filoni, who also did Mandalorian with John Favreau. I mean, that guy should be the guy that's in charge.
So I don't know if Taika's in charge. He's directing, right?
Oh no, I'm just saying.
Oh, gotcha.
Like, that guy should be in charge of he should be the
John in there?
Kevin Feige of the Star Wars universe.
Did you hear that?
John's so involved in all of it.
There's these rumors that like Disney was gonna like make a surprise announcement on May the 4th that Kevin Feige was taking over Star Wars. Mm-hmm. And I was like, that'd be insane. Dope. But also like, man, that would be the kind of press you want to revitalize
Yeah,
like a franchise.
I like how
I don't know if that'd be the best or not, but like
any kind of move like that would be a great move. To be honest, it could be Joe Schmo. Like, hey, we got this guy over here, and he's going to oversee the whole thing and make all this stuff work together. And like, oh, good, you know. Like,
oh, that's a familiar concept.
Taika, like, though it's been like his decade, you know, because especially for Disney, I think he's like 1,000% a Disney guy now, because he did like Love and Thunder. Well, he did the Ragnarok.
Yeah,
he's going to do Love and Thunder. Jojo Rabbit was inherited from Fox.
Yep.
It's like they're like, this guy can just knock it out of the ballpark on every level of the budget.
Yeah, he's been knocking it out like solid pretty much every time so far.
He made a movie with Scarlett Johansson that reminded me that she was a good actor.
Yeah.
Yeah, man. Jojo Rabbit.
I mean, I loved Ragnarok, but as you know, coming from canon, it kind of destroyed a lot of what Thor was to me. And while it was fun and it was definitely funny, I do agree he does a really good job normally. But like, if you're gonna do that in the Star Wars universe, I mean, it's already been destroyed like by the movies in general. So I think there definitely needs to be someone like a Kevin Feige put in charge over the top of it. I don't know why Disney hasn't done that yet. It just doesn't make sense to me.
Josh, Solo, you don't like that movie, right?
I didn't watch the whole thing. I've only seen parts of it. It was okay. Originally it was supposed to be done by Miller and Lord, and I didn't really want a Solo movie. I mean, I really wanted the Obi-Wan movie. I mean, a lot of the fans too. And
maybe that will be the next thing.
Well, no, it is. It's a TV show that they're doing.
And Disney Plus.
Okay.
But the Solo movie is something that nobody really, I feel like, asked for. And so when they pulled it out, it was supposed to be Miller and Lord, which, you know, did the Lego movie and a ton of other stuff that's really great and funny. And I was like, okay, Solo, fun and funny, this is going to work. And apparently halfway through it, they fired both of them. And then they had it picked up with Ron Howard. And they reshot the whole thing. So it's like, well, I'd probably rather want to see that movie, you know?
Yeah.
But it's kind of like I was recording with some childhood friends the other day. We were talking about Mortal Kombat. And like, I think I finally figured out like the equal feeling. So I guess Solo, to a lot of Star Wars fans, was a way that Sub-Zero's mythologies felt like to MK fans. Because it was like, we didn't need to see that part of history. It was better as lore, unless you were going to do it really well. Because the Sub-Zero game was like that feud between Sub-Zero and Scorpion, and like when they killed each other or whatever.
Yeah.
But you always heard about it, and in your head it was such a big deal, and in the game it was just like a passing moment.
That was a really hard game.
It's so like, well, no, just that moment of them like Scorpion being killed and stuff. It was like, it was just like okay, he's dead. Like, well, I just would have rather not seen it. You know,
if you're just going to make it quick.
So I guess with Solo, there was so many moments like, you know, that like the thing that he's always bragging about. What was it? Can't remember. Or like when he's maneuvered the ship.
Yeah,
around the
parsecs.
And he always like bragged about it in the old movies, and then you saw it in this movie. It was like, I mean, that was good, but like I feel like it should have been like a lot more.
Yeah.
To exchange the mythos of it, you know.
Well, you figured like they would. I don't know why you wouldn't do a movie like this, and when you recast, you know, him, and then not do more. So that just it confused me what they were trying to do. Rogue One was great. Rogue One is like, hey, here's all these new people, and we, you know, that's a different like a in the middle story, and it works great.
And they're all dead by the end.
Yeah, and I'm like, I feel like most Star Wars fans of all the newer movies that Disney has done, that one is they're like, all right, that one's pretty good. We don't mind that one. So.
I think Rogue One was my favorite Star Wars movie.
Out of all the new ones?
Well, just period, actually.
It's really good.
Really? Huh.
For me, well, just because, like, you know, I didn't grow up with the trilogies, you know, and stuff, and the prequels I grew up with, but I didn't, like, love. Yeah. Like, Rogue One just felt like a movie that I could watch in or out of the Star Wars universe. I was like, this was a solid movie, except for the ending with the CG Leia, but everything else was perfect.
Yeah.
I actually watched all three of the prequels with my kids this weekend.
Oh, yeah?
Because we watched all these Clone Wars, and the Clone Wars happens between obviously Attack of the Clones and the end of Revenge of the Sith.
Yeah.
And so you're getting towards the end, and they've seen a lot of the Clone Wars stuff, and they're really tying up everything in this TV show. There was a couple episodes this season that was kind of like, why is this here? But besides that, great season. And we get to the end before they're going to do Order 66, but my girls don't understand what's going on and why it's a big thing. And I was like, all right, I didn't really want to do this, but let's pull out these movies.
Yeah.
And so we watched all three of them, and it's funny. I didn't tell them hardly anything about it, and they came to about the same conclusion as I did. They're like, "Well, there's some fun light saber fights, but it's just Anakin is just a terrible actor, and or like, at least the dialogue. To me, the dialogue's awful in the movie.
I hate sand.
And yeah."
Wait, the kid Anakin or the?
Oh, I feel like the kid too. I mean, but he's a kid. I guess I can give him a little bit more. It's like, wow, you look like an angel. Like, oh gosh.
That's how he would talk, I guess. That's good.
The reason I brought up Solo was to maybe propose if there was a movie that Taika could do that was possibly between Rogue One and the seriousness, dramatic Rogue One, but then also have the funny, light-sided, like jokey Solo.
I feel like that would have been the Solo. I mean, if any of them deserve fun and funny, it's Solo.
Yeah,
because he was the funny guy. He was the comic relief. Like it was action too, but Solo was always like the guy that kind of made you laugh.
I'm just really glad that we're at a point where the Skywalker stuff is kind of
It's put to rest.
We could put it on the way in the back.
Such a sad put to rest.
What I want now, if Taika's going to be like the golden boy, I would totally co-sign. I don't think they're thinking about this, but I would totally co-sign like a whole series about Babu Frick, developed by Taika Waititi.
Yo, him and speaking of movie trolls, remember it was like tiny troll or whatever.
Oh yeah, the rapper.
Yeah, the rapper. Him and
there you go.
And this dude from Star Wars. Rap video.
I just remember this as a tangent. I want to slide it in here while we're doing some intros. A huge Mortal Kombat 11 news dropped this morning. It was insanity. Out of nowhere, they dropped this like little teaser thing that I guess we're going to get in full on spoiler here. If you haven't played the game, you should pause this section and play it. But like the end of Mortal Kombat 11 is Liu Kang defeats Kronika because he became a god, like even higher than Raiden, and he defeats Kronika. He takes over time, but he's too late. So the world has already been reset, and so the entire existence is being recreated by Liu Kang, and he gets to choose one person. And in the game, you have a choice to either continue it with Kitana or continue it with Raiden. Obviously, with him, Kitana is like his romantic interest. With Raiden would be like the guidance, and stuff.
Yeah,
either one is fine. But that ending is like Liu Kang in the middle of dead space, creating the universe, and that's the way this game ends. So it's like it's the end of the story of like 27 years of lore,
Yeah.
But it also leaves it open to like they could just restart everything 5 years from now if they want.
Of course.
So that's the game. So what they released this morning was the footage of just the very end, where you see like Liu Kang saying, "Raiden, where do I start?" And I think everybody thought like, "Oh, they're just going to post this thing now." And then at the moment, like Raiden's like, the story, it just changes. All of a sudden, a portal opens up behind Raiden, and 3 shadowy figures walk out, and then Raiden turns back, and he looks back, he's like, "Shang Tsung," and then the screen goes black, and it says, "Announcement May 6th." And we're like, "What the?"
Nice.
So by the time you hear this, you'll know what's going on, and we can talk about it in the comments because I would love to do that. But as of recording this, we have like 8 more hours till we find out what that was about.
Wow.
But it just caused like a storm because like now the leading theory is they're going to do a DLC of the story to expand on the story mode.
No shit.
And it would be like a few weeks, like a couple weeks past a year from when it released originally.
Yeah.
So everybody's thinking this might be the thing that Ed Boon said when they released the game, like, "Oh, there's some surprises coming."
Yeah, there's more,
like a lot of surprises, and so people are speculating, like, so is this going to be a big thing? Is it just going to be a story, or is it going to be like story DLC, backgrounds, new characters and stuff? Like, are they essentially going to release like another half game?
Yeah.
On top of everything?
That'd be great.
Because changing that ending just explodes everything. Because we were already like, all the fans were already like, this was the end,
Seeing Kronika's death was just amazing to see at the end.
But even now, though, just because of restarting the universe, but now they're veering off that. It's weird. It's like the it's like an end game, how like there's the other timeline we never see.
Right.
Like we only see the one. So the other timeline happened somewhere wherever Thanos like disappeared from and stuff. So it's almost like in Mortal Kombat now they're exploring this other thread of like the other timeline or something. I don't know what's going on, but so intriguing. Like it's always so exciting, and I kind of love it because it's in the spirit of that original mystery that the original trilogy had when we were on the playground. You know, like did you hear about Ermac or something? You know, like, this is like they found a way to make surprises again in the age of the internet.
Interesting. Also,
So
yeah,
bizarre.
clever. Really clever of them. Was that Never Realms?
Yeah.
Yeah, they've been like really like digging deep for MK11.
Yeah. So anyway, it's worth throwing that in because that's like so like huge. So
That
can't
is
wait.
kind of crazy. Like, hey,
there's
you
like that-
you thought you were done. Boom.
Right?
Here's
Like,
another timeline.
They changed the I don't know. Maybe they didn't. I don't know what they did, but it was just like, what did we just see? That was the completely different but the same that we just all saw a year ago.
yeah. Well, for the
Very
last
cool.
thing before we jump into our movie review, we got Paramount plans a new G.I. Joe movie after the Snake Eyes solo film.
So after.
Yeah. You figure like that's something they would decide after that movie's released.
Yeah, like let's see how this does first. Or they're like, you know what? That one's almost done filming. We might as well just film this one. We'll put them both out at the same time.
Or they're trying to gauge some kind of like, oh yeah, I wonder. I'm sure that they probably do this. They release some information, and if like people bite on it, they're like, all right, now let's go with it. Because you know, there's been so much stuff where they're like, you're going to make this movie, and then it never materializes. And you're like, what the heck? What happened to that one time they said they were going to make this movie?
I'm still looking at this Snake Eyes classified G.I. Joe like released these G.I. Joes, and the Snake Eyes is just so badass, and even like down to the box it comes in and just everything, the presentation, all the pieces, the mechanics, the way it moves, the detail, and all the weapons is ridiculous. It's just way too expensive.
Well,
I don't like G.I. Joe.
I don't like Ninja Turtles, and Rod doesn't like
Mortal Kombat.
Mortal Kombat.
Oh boy.
All right,
That's
guys.
really exciting, though. Like, I have to say, like, I'm afraid for GI Joe's just franchise, universe, whatever it is, because
Yeah, it's the same with the Turtles.
Well, yeah, you know, Turtles is always a concern for me because I love the Turtles so much, and it's like just like you, that there's like, you know, they're very dear to my heart. So I hate seeing things get too crazy.
Well, I hate seeing them go like, "Hey, let's release another, you know, half-assed movie," and you know,
Yeah,
for
Even
both
the
of
new-
those, you know,
Even well, we've probably talked about this on the podcast too, but like the new cartoon where all the turtles are like different sizes and colors.
yeah,
That's kind of freaking
it's just
me out.
that cartoon is not going over well. I'll tell you that. People are not happy about it. You can tell by toy sales, and they're getting rid of them. I'm a part of a bunch of TMNT groups, which is kind of funny. In fact, it's the 30th anniversary, I think, on the 23rd of May.
Oh wow!
And the girl that was the original April, something Hogue, Julie Hogue, I think her name is gonna do like a watch along or whatever.
Nice.
What are those things called? Watch party of the original Ninja Turtles movie
A
together.
striptease.
Striptease.
Oh, Judith Hogue.
There you go.
Oh, Judith Hogue. She was in a bunch of TV shows.
Oh,
Yeah, she's in a lot of stuff still. But it's funny, she wasn't in any of the other Ninja Turtle movies, just the first one.
well, fantastic.
Anywho, we should probably get on to the movie thing.
Yeah, actually, we're
Joe.
exactly halfway through, so that
Sorry, I was
that
just
works out.
singing.
So, first off, like the movie it's really corny, but like it's so entertaining the whole way through.
I love it.
It didn't feel like a 2-hour movie.
No, it's so great.
No, it really works. It works surprisingly well for as many people are actually in it.
I think the thing is, at the time it came out, like the people who were in it were just unknown for the most part. You know,
I mean,
like nobody who knew Dane Cook was. You know, like
well, he's only in it
maybe
for like 2
Dane, yeah.
seconds.
But I'm just saying, like with the number of people, there's only like a very small amount of people that were like super well known. You know, at the time.
Yeah,
William H.
besides
Macy,
like the main
Janine
cast.
Garofalo, Greg Kinnear, Eddie Izzard.
Yeah, like
Yeah. Plus,
all
there's
those
a billion
side
other like
characters.
small people in it. It's crazy how many
So-
people are in it.
Thing.
I learned something new every time I watch it about the movie. Like I noticed something,
Yeah.
and this time around I was like, "Is that Michael Bay?" And I
Yeah.
looked it up, and I was like, "That's Michael Bay."
Yep.
We can't. Can we bring our brewskis in?
No, that's funny. And CeeLo's in it. He's the
Yeah.
one of the,
Well,
the guys.
the whole Goody Mob.
Yep.
That's so great.
Ricky Jay. He's a magician, and like he's been a bunch of movies. He's a publicist, which is funny. He's a magician, and in the movie he says, "I'm a publicist, not a magician."
Oh, that's funny.
It's just like, anyway.
And I totally did not recognize Artie Lang.
Oh yeah,
Oh, yeah.
You hear Artie Lang, and it's just like, oh, that's Artie Lang.
The red eye.
Dude, have you seen that guy lately? His nose is like collapsed.
Artie Lang?
Yeah, you should see him on. He
I
was
thought-
on Joe Rogan.
Oh,
And-
I thought he was dead.
No, he's clean apparently.
Oh, wow.
Yeah,
Yeah.
He's never been clean. He said.
And he's lost a bunch of weight, right?
Yeah, but like a bunch of things that contributed to his nose just caving in. So like,
Weird.
yeah, he talks a lot about that and jokes around him on the Joe Rogan podcast with him. It's great to hear it because I've always thought he was funny, but apparently he was like just constantly on cocaine.
Yes.
Oh, that's why the nose is caved in.
Yep.
One of the reasons he said one time that like he was getting into a shower and a girl he was with was chopping up some pills and she was crushing them with a salt shaker that was glass and that broke. The salt shaker broke. And so she like went to go put it away or whatever. He came out of the shower and she was gone and saw all the pills crushed up. And he's like, "Oh, I'll snort them." So he snorts them and all that glass goes up his nose.
Sweet.
Jeez.
Yeah.
That's how you get it right into the blood.
Yeah, exactly. That's real quick. All right. So anyway,
Yeah, but I think what made it work was that everyone committed like 2,000% to like the ridiculousness. Like even Hank Azaria,
Yeah.
like it was almost kind of like meta in the sense that everybody kind of treated the movie like as a theater piece. But the characters in the movie were treating it like a theater piece, you know, because like
The Sphinx, man.
the Blue Raja, like isn't British.
No. That was like so funny. That whole scene with his mom.
Yeah.
You know what's crazy is I read an interview with Hank Azaria, and he was talking about how the cast fought a ton.
Oh, really?
Yeah, and they all wanted like their own spot, and they all wanted their own little, their own little sayings to get put in there all the time. If you notice throughout the film, there's always constantly like someone saying something right after another person. So they said they fought a ton, including I guess Stiller fought with Greg Kinnear, and it's just apparently I don't know. The director had never directed anything before besides commercials, and
Wow.
never directed anything ever again.
That's great.
So like Azaria was like, I overheard the director say, "Screw this crap, I'm going back to doing commercials."
That's funny.
Dang.
Because this thing had like a $70 million I think budget, and it only brought in $33 million.
Eh.
And it was crazy because it came out the same. It came out the same week that Sixth Sense, Blair Witch, Runaway Bride, and Thomas Crown Affair was all in the movie theater.
Oh, that's a big weekend.
Yeah, it is almost like I don't know if you ever seen UHF. UHF came out like the same week as like Indiana Jones and the Temple of Doom or something. Like just like 3 or 4 movies the same thing, and so it got buried as well,
Yeah.
which is kind of crazy. Also, this
Wow.
movie is the first movie to have Smash Mouth. Like it actually,
Oh,
the music video for that Smash Mouth song,
Yeah.
All Star, is the music video for this movie.
Oh, wow. I didn't know that.
Everybody kind of thinks it's Shrek, but it's for this one.
Oh, yeah, because Shrek did it too.
Well, yeah, everybody kind of makes fun of Shrek, and that's kind of a meme now. So
That's so funny that it's Mystery Men that, that video is from. Wow.
Yeah, but like just even so, but we mentioned Stiller and Jeanine Garofalo. Like everybody just committed to like their lunacy.
oh yeah,
Like
Yeah.
it's like Jeanine just talking to the skull head thing, like and it just never breaks. Ben Stiller, like I don't know, he sells it. Like he's been that character ever since. Like the Something About Mary kind of
Yeah.
like okay, whatever. He's just always like flustered.
it was excellently cast. Stiller was actually supposed to direct the movie,
Oh.
and he was doing something else, and he came back to star in it instead.
I have to be honest. I couldn't recognize Keel until like way later into the movie. I thought it was Cisco when he first came on.
Oh,
because his
Kel?
haircut. Kel, not Keel. Kel.
Who loves orange soda?
Yeah, Invisible
Yep.
Boy. And then finally, he's like, "You mean Kel?" I was like, "Oh my god, that's freaking Kel, Keenan and Kel."
I asked this back in the day when I saw it for the first time, and I asked it again today. I was like, when he turns invisible, why do his clothes fall off?
Yeah, and if he knew that he could turn invisible, why didn't his clothes fall off the last time he did it? And he would remember that? I don't know.
Yeah, well, even just like he dematerialized? Was that the?
I also
Maybe.
thought it was pretty funny that they were like, "Oh, you got to use 2 hands to cover up.
Oh yeah. 2 hands, bud.
You're gonna need 2 hands,
He's like one of the only people with actual superpowers.
right?"
Yeah.
Oh, that's true. I guess that Janine has the whatever possessed
And
bowling ball.
The spleen.
yeah, the
The
spleen.
spleen, man.
But did they imply that he killed like 5 people in a diner?
with his
I
fart
don't know
gas.
if the farts kill people or just knock them out. I'm assuming they knock them out.
Yeah. Well, I mean, one guy like just like head over heels, like straight up like died because
Right.
like how high he fell from.
Some of those falls looked like you would break your back.
Well, most of the guys were sitting at the bar, the diner,
Yeah.
but like one of the servers just like whoop,
Yeah.
like and then land on their head, and it was like,
I mean, it is like a dystopian future. Like,
Yeah.
it's a weird one though, because it's like, it's almost like a little bit like Batman, like, because it would be Batman was in that today, but the cars were all from like the 50s, and it was all kind of like a noir
Yeah.
kind of thing.
Right.
So it's like a futuristic Gotham with they had like 50s cars in it, and then on top of it, all the signs were in Chinese,
yeah.
and so I'm like, what are they trying to say here?
and like when they open, it takes you a while to figure out that you're in like just a normal nursing home.
Yeah.
Like at first I was like, did this take place in a superhero nursing home? It's like, no, this is the normal in their universe
Yeah.
Yeah.
nursing home.
Which was nuts.
And it was very reminiscent of like when the Penguin took over Gotham,
Casanova.
Like he had Jeffrey Rush.
How do you guys feel about him as a villain and his
Great, I
pinky?
I like that he just basically played it straight and everything else made it hilarious.
Him sharpening his pinky nail.
I like whenever they were saying like the disco room, they'd always do the pose.
Yeah.
To the disco room.
I had.
Oh man,
it
there's so
was-
many small like one-liner things in here. It's insane.
That's the thing. Even like the back and forth between the shoveler and Mr. Furious. Mm-hmm. Like the dialogue is so dumb, but and like the responses are just as ludicrous as what the questions were. Like
Yeah, like I love the shoveler. He's basically when he goes home, he's basically like a wannabe like a rock star.
yeah,
Like he comes home, he's like, "How long you gonna do this, honey?" He's like, "I'm a damn good shoveler."
yeah.
And they're like, "Yeah," and they just play the whole thing straight. Like, but I do love the little bit of clarity that was in the whole thing was that Ben Stiller's character is like, Captain Amazing is Lance. What's his face?
Yeah.
It's funny because like he would be smart in some instances and just completely stupid in the other ones, to where like he was talking to the Sphinx or whatever, and he'd be like he like finished
yeah.
his sentences for him.
He's like, "I can figure out what your sayings are because this is the reverse of the first thing you said."
That was hilarious.
In order to master your rage, you must let your rage become your master or something.
Yeah.
Is that what you're gonna say?
Maybe not.
Speaking of Sphinx, his first his first scene when he comes into the movie, he slices through all the weapons, right? Mm-hmm. And then never again
Does
do you
it?
see that type of attack. Mm-hmm. But you do see a ray gun that makes people argue.
Yeah.
You see, what was the other thing? It was a
The clothes shrinking race.
clothes shrinking ray, and
Yeah, you
these
get-
were all created by Tom Waits.
Wait, that was the first thing when the movie started. I was like, "Was that Tom Waits?"
Yeah.
This
He's
is
like a good actor.
This just gives you like a perspective of what the movie is like even like describing that alone.
It kind of felt like just like a play date for a bunch of people who live in LA. You know?
It's
Yeah,
weird
it's
though,
kinda
because like
what
you
it
can
felt like.
follow the story. Like the story just naturally progresses. There's nothing wrong with this movie. Like in fact, this is one of my favorite comic book movies.
Yeah,
and
it's
it
a
was
good
made in
one.
1999 before X-Men and Spider-Man. So it's just such a weird kind of like spoof on it, especially with, the whole, Lance Hunt wears glasses, Captain America, Captain Amazing doesn't wear glasses.
That's what's so wild of like how it ended up being a parody of everything before everything else happened. Because I know we mentioned that before, but even Captain Amazing has the boring black leather suit
with all the sponsors
and stuff. But like it was like that was even before X-Men made it like a
disaster.
It's like a stereotype, of like, oh, they're going to be in realistic black suits.
I mean, I guess it did come on the heels of the Matrix or whatever, but
I forgot. I didn't realize. I mean, it's been a while since I've seen this movie, but I forgot that they kill Captain Amazing. Spoilers.
I remember that.
It was so great. Like halfway through the movie, the first time, and being like, "Wait, no, he's really dead. That guy's really dead." Like,
and it's gruesome.
It is. It's weird. It's got like that kind of like mystery science theater kind of vibe to it, or something.
Right?
Or no, maybe I'm thinking Mars Attacks or something. Yeah.
I mean, there is some like gory moments in the beginning of this movie too, and where the Red Eyes are doing the heist and they're like pulling that dude's prosthetic arm off and like pulled his eye out and he took his gold teeth. And
it was all fake stuff, like fake teeth, his fake eye, his prosthetic leg.
It was just like enough unsettling images,
Stealing stuff from a nursing home.
Gosh.
But I love also like the little bits of realism they give in it. They were like, Captain Amazing has all these sponsorships like a NASCAR driver.
Yes.
And it's like, I guess that's how it'd have to be because, you couldn't, unless you were Bruce Wayne. And even Bruce Wayne, like, how does he just not run out of money being that,
Yeah,
but like,
Iron Man too.
Yeah, but like, you say you're like Superman, you're just like, Clark Kent. Like, how do you afford to like not sleep all night,
Yeah.
And like do all this stuff and like have, have this life and stuff. So like, it would make sense if you were that, you'd be like, okay, I'm going to wear a Pepsi patch.
Yeah.
I wonder if
this.
The Boys, it was based on like a comic. I wonder if that comic was made before this movie came out, because I feel like that would be like a really obvious, idea. Like, hey, let's take some superheroes, and you know what? They get a little bit full of themselves, and they say, hey, let's hold on to some of this cash and or whatever. I don't know. It definitely has that vibe to it with him.
I still haven't seen The Boys.
No, I haven't seen The Boys either.
I've seen a few episodes, and I want to finish it, but like it's so like not kid friendly.
Yeah.
So, yeah, it's been hard.
That was speaking of like, this is not Amazon, but like it just reminded me the other big news that came out: the Nicolas Cage is going to be Joe Exotic in the Tiger King series.
Yeah,
I don't know if that's going to be 100% true or not, but
checks out. I don't know. Like that's hilarious.
One thing that this other thing, the Lock and Key, actually, Josh, that we were talked about a few weeks back.
Oh yeah.
I started watching that show. It ended up being really good.
Did you? So you liked it?
Yeah, I recommend that show to all the spandex lovers out there.
Oh, while we're on that tip, a while back we were talking about the show I'm Not Okay With This.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
I watched through it. Highly recommended. Not around children or younger, but like because it's not kid friendly at all. From like the first second, it hits all the points.
Yeah,
but it's really easy to watch because each episode is as short as 18 minutes and only as long as like 27 minutes, and there's only 7 episodes for the first season. So it's just over like a couple hours to just binge the whole season.
that's great.
And they happen pretty quick. And that girl, I forget her name, who was in It, that's in this.
Yeah,
She's fantastic. And like the
redhead.
Yeah, the whole time it has a little bit of mystery, but also a little bit of like nostalgia. The only thing people compare it to Stranger Things. The only thing it really compares to is that it has a couple like some like it's like a retro vibe, but it's happening these days.
Yeah.
And I don't know. I just it's kind of like what somebody described as what like Stranger Things like older rebellious sister,
Okay.
and that checks out because like the kids are like horny, like and stuff, and not like just romantic. I want to take you to the dance, like.
Yeah,
They all want to have sex with each other and stuff. They're speaking like really, coarsely and stuff. And
right.
like, it's all like pretty real, And then don't let anybody spoil it for you because you watch the entire series and they make that last episode worth it. Because I turned it off at one point in the last episode. I'm like, oh my god, like like what just happened? Like I was in this world, and then they just like uncorked it right here. So it's pretty cool. I don't know. So that was my recommendation.
Mystery Men did not do that.
It's weird because it'd have like small little parts that like kind of were touching. It's kind of weird. Like when he was trying to get to know the girl a little bit, and he'd like let himself through every once in a while. Like, oh, my name's kind of Roy.
Ben did a great job for that. I mean, I've always been a fan of like a lot of his stuff anyway. So
I love the sandwich speech, where like I don't know, I think it's actually like supposed to be some kind of
William H. Macy's.
Yeah. He gives that speech with the sandwich, at the end.
Like, there's so much cholesterol in this.
Cry. Yeah.
Am I going to eat the sandwich, or am I going to go fight for?
That's such a great like metaphor, like a serious moment, but it's equally goofy.
Yeah.
It was great. I also made me hungry for an egg sandwich.
Oh, I ordered Taco Bell. That's because it's Cinco de Mayo and I wanted tacos.
Oh,
it's funny. One of the things that's funny to me, like, was the costumes. Like, they get better costumes, but you see them making them, and so it makes sense that they have them. As in other movies we talked about before, they're just like, "Hey, by the way, we're now in boxing gloves and shorts." And
right, all of us don't have our personal to Tony Stark to open a capsule, and all of a sudden a freaking bionic suit pops out.
I was going to say that all their real superpower, their true calling, they should have just started like a tailor's shop, because they all have like incredible sewing skills.
Yeah, those were pretty great. Pretty shiny, but yeah.
Well, it's just interesting because like you assume that they had made their previous costumes, especially Blue Raja.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
like Blue Raja, it seems like he just literally got like rugs from his mom's house.
He'd look like my grandmother's drapes.
But then he made his costume, and it was super shiny and like I was like, so all these guys, like they're like really good costume makers.
Sphinx was the best though.
Like the pigtail up the top.
It was like neon blue with an eye in the middle of his chest with a pigtail on the top.
And like with him, it on varying levels, there could have been multiple opportunities for it to be like kind of like moderately offensive or something. You know?
Yeah.
But his character is so confusing that like there's no way. Like you're like is he like the moment you think like, is he like a weird stereotypical Native American thing? But his name's the Sphinx. And then the costume he has, like, what is that? That's like a 2-year-old girl, like in like Nacho Libre.
Oh,
like,
yeah.
God, it's just so like wild. And Cal had the perfect line. He's like, wow, that's so deep. Like up to the line of confusing.
Yeah, that's where it gets confusing.
He's supposed to be mysterious. He's incredibly mysterious.
Yeah. Oh, okay.
Also, like the rumors before Sphinx came in to the whole group and everything. I forget what the rumors were.
That he could split guns in half with his mind.
Oh, that's what it was. Yeah.
He's like, Kenny? Well, I don't know.
And then he does it. And then never happens again.
That's funny because when you see them split, like, they actually do get the guns chopped in half, but when they're holding the guns again, they just took the slide off.
Yeah, it was just like pieces.
I love it. My favorite part of the Sphinx is like at the end of the movie because he had like the group hug in the middle of the movie, and that's when Ben Stiller's character is like, "Heck with this, I'm leaving." And at the end of the movie, Ben Stiller's like, "Group hug," and you see the Sphinx goes, "Yeah!" Like, everyone gets together.
I didn't notice that.
The smile on his face. So.
Yeah, that's kind of like the culminating moment of seeing all the things worked on come to fruition in one full moment.
They gave everybody their part, man. I mean, every little person, even like Kel and every Invisible Boy.
This is my moment.
Yeah,
no one look at me. I'm translucent.
Kind of reminds me a little bit of Men in Black. I don't know why.
Oh yeah,
maybe just a little bit like the magic-y stuff.
I really appreciated the length they went in detail, like when Captain Amazing or whatever, he steps into his car after a press thing, and he actually like has to like lock into a charger that's in the seat, and you see him like unconnect and then reconnect, and he's like looking back to make sure the green light was flashing, the red light was flashing. And I'm like, wow, I was like, that was pointless. But kind of cool, because now I'm like, what is he charging? And they never go back to
just
they
like
never
the
say anything.
suit, because they don't ever like clear up if he has powers or he's just like Iron Man,
Right. So it's just like a mystery just like runs all the way through this movie. Mystery. I don't know what that means.
You don't really know if people actually have powers or not.
Well, you're just confused the entire time. Like, yeah, you don't really know who actually has powers, or if this is just some like fantasy world where, it's not even called that. It could be something else.
Well, it hits these like these 90s beats. Like last week we were talking about Tank Girl and how the tank just is sentient out of the blue.
Yeah.
And so in this movie, like the bowling ball with the skull is like sentient out of the blue.
I like how the skull was pissed off that he didn't get any credit at the end.
Yeah. Oh yeah. And like she's like, okay, deal's a deal. I'm going back to grad school now. Like she never wanted to be a superhero. Like she was just
the whole point was to kill the guy.
Yeah, Eddie Izzard.
Eddie Izzard, yeah. And I was gonna really quick go into like the villains and the other part of the detail thing with the however you had like the disco club, and then you had the what were they called,
they're all horrible stereotypes,
like furries and
furries,
and then this one the
Susies, the
Susies, yeah. The mafia ones? Who were those?
Oh yeah, the suits,
yeah.
This was
the
so
frat
great.
boys,
the frat boys with Michael Bay. This movie has pretty much all the right elements to be like for really like fantastic ride, and I do think it achieved that. I don't think it by any means is it like a Marvel standard movie, but I don't think that was ever intended to be that type of vast grandiose type thing. They do actually go into some scale with some of the shots. They show these like vast landscapes of cities, just to kind of give you like the scale of what we're talking about and where they're at and the movement of the city and everything. So I do appreciate them on that level, putting that in there. But
they definitely had some money to put behind it. Those shots, it was at the weird age at the end of at the end of the 90s where like they're still doing miniatures, so there's miniatures in it. There's computer animation in it. Like there's good computer animation, and then there's not so good computer animation. Like when you see Paul Rubin's face like swirling around in the tornado or whatever.
God,
you're like,
yeah, when he's pushing the.
Other than that, though, like it really holds up. Like there's just a few parts where like, oh, okay.
Actually, that was my last point. Was the money? I think to me personally, I want to hear what you guys think. What do you think they spent the most money on scene wise? And I think it was the end scene where the blue what's his name? He shoots the forks to make like a ladder for Frenzy to climb up or whatever.
Cool.
That I think that's where they spent the most money, and that's what actually felt like the most superhero. Save the girl. He's got to climb up to save the girl. That was a really epic moment.
I think the driving of the vehicle and smashing into the house.
That was so great.
Yeah,
and that vehicle. Oh my god.
Yeah, the whole thing just felt like a party. I think that's what I liked about it, and like you said, it felt like the Batman movies,
Oh yeah,
where like the Gotham kind of.
It kind of did have that Jim Burton thing.
Jim Burton,
or Jonathan.
Also a little bit like the Mario movie, like when he goes to the other side of the world or whatever. It felt a lot like that with the Neon-y. I don't know.
Yanni?
Neon-y? Yes.
I love Yanni.
Yeah, it's kind of like not quite cyberpunk.
Yeah.
Like it's just this weird. I don't know.
Not quite Daft Punk
I was
either.
talking to a friend the other day about like the kind of like the Dick Tracy universe. It's like,
Oh my
is this in the
gosh.
past or the future or current? And like like it just has this vibe, but it's super stylized.
Yes.
Very cartoony.
So like this was very much that. It's like you know what world you're in, and it's just fun. I wouldn't say it's like a piece of art, but like it was just really fun and kind of what I want when I go see a movie like that.
Yeah, it was so funny. I've seen this movie a million times. I've owned it since it came out, and I watched it again and I laugh at all the same parts. There's not very many movies that I can that do that to me, to where I just laugh out loud to certain parts.
Yeah, like this is I wanted like Street Fighter to have this vibe.
Maybe you just remembered it a little bit better than what it was.
Yeah, well, just like have like it'd be dated, but have a charming quality to it, Because Mystery Men is dated,
Yeah.
But like it's very charming. It's all the ways I love it to be dated. You know, like just that nursing home scene at the beginning.
Yeah.
I'm like, we accept that. You know, when Batman starts, there would be a nursing home like that. You know, with these like really harsh like colored lights coming through the windows, and everybody's in these like, you know, crazy like futuristic, you know, like looks and stuff.
Yeah.
There's one part in the movie where the Invisible Boy they meet him and somehow they just find out who he is and where he's at. They go to his house and it's like, can we come in? Like, oh yeah, sure. Hey Dad, I'm going to my room with 3 strange men. And the dad doesn't say a word.
I cracked up with that too. He doesn't even flinch.
No.
I liked Monica's role too. She was like the girl,
the love interest.
Yeah, the love interest. There you go.
She was in Mallrats, wasn't she?
I know her from like a Brad Pitt movie. I remember I saw her in that movie, and that was the first one. I was like, whoa, okay.
I love all the recruitment part where they have all the crazy people. They had both Dane Cook in that, and they also had what's the other guy's name? The pencil guy was Doug Jones.
Oh, that's right. Yeah,
like he does all the crazy, creepy like creatures and stuff.
Pencil Head.
Yeah.
Trying to see if there's any other ones that are like very highly notable.
I figured like the girl that would be the PMS Avenger would be like a comedian or something. I don't know though.
Oh yeah, that's right. Let's see if she's on here.
You're gonna look at the IMDb to find her.
Yeah, if it's not here, it's not here though. Yeah, it's not like in the first couple of things. So
no, it was great. I don't know.
Seeing CeeLo was pretty funny too. That was great.
I mean, he's been a songwriter for a while, but like, you know, I thought he didn't break out until that Crazy song.
So Goody Mob was his original band.
Yeah.
It was like 3 guys, I think 3 or 4 guys. And then he went solo from there and had a bunch of different stuff. But like when he went solo, it was a big deal. Like Goody Mob released an album right after that without him called One Monkey Don't Stop the Show. And they replaced where he would be in all the promotional photos with like this toy monkey thing. And so there was a big bout there. And then I don't know if this was before or after that, but then they made up and started doing albums again. But yeah, then he did Gnarls Barkley and Crazy blew up.
Yeah.
But I think it was a combination of like that and like, you know, Forget You.
Forget You didn't come out before this though.
No, it was way after. But I think like Forget You like
Added
like
to his
it just like blew it up like
fandom.
to like, you know, where it's like no going back now.
Or it's like,
now
Crazy
I'm
on The Voice and everything else.
Yeah. Well, Crazy was like really big, but it was under like that Gnarls Barkley brand.
Yeah, that's true.
With was Danger Mouse.
Yeah.
And stuff. So, but it did definitely like that put him on the map. You know, it's kind of like it's on the level of like Umbrella for Rihanna.
Well, it was national radio for a long time.
I mean, it's borderline a standard.
Yeah.
You know,
I just remember whenever I hear Crazy, I think of that scene in Kick-Ass. Where they're like dancing in the car. I
That's
can't,
a good movie.
and I can't not laugh just thinking of that song because they're just acting like utter idiots in that scene.
That's interesting, actually. Like, what should our next movie be? Right there, the Scott Pilgrim. Well, I think would also be a fun one.
Yeah.
Or Kick-Ass. I thought would be fun.
Did I send you guys a list? I thought I might. Of like things that I had remembered. I thought I did.
I thought you did. Because we looked at it, so we were like, "Oh, look at that." Was that?
Or Big Trouble in Little China.
Oh, I love Big Trouble in Little China.
I think that'd just be silly. Also, he who questions training only trains himself at questioning, asking questions.
There's so many great one-liners like that. Oh gosh,
Looking at all of them right now.
Where's the one that Jeffrey Rush had? It was like, I never not want to not do the.
Yeah.
I was like, or no, what if I knew that you knew that I knew that you didn't know that I knew?
Yeah.
That you knew? He's like, well, would you know? It's like, I lost track, but on paper, I'm sure that works.
I'm sure. Yeah. I like when they start taunting them when they're all drunk or whatever. They're like, "That's your power. You have guns." Oh. Oh man. Tonight the lone wolf hunts alone. You know? He's like trying to make. He always is trying to make like some horrible metaphors or just say weird things like "sweet dreams, lilac." You know, like just,
Yeah.
Oh yeah. There's just all these one-liners,
awful. Gosh.
and it feels like super like dad jokey.
Oh yeah.
And it's also interesting. I don't know why, but to me that we see like grown men having to deal with like their personal lives, like Shoveler with his wife, and then Blue Raja with his mother.
Yeah.
It's just like,
Blue Raja was interesting because his mother didn't seem very much older than him.
yeah.
And at times, like especially when she was like found out that he was a superhero, quote unquote,
Yeah.
it borderline to like feeling like a romantic scene.
Oh.
So like it was on that line where like if I just walked in right now on this scene and you didn't tell me, depending on like the things I experienced that day, I might just assume that was like a romantic scene,
Right. It just turns into
because
softcore.
she wasn't so much older than him that I'd be like, that's definitely his mother.
Yeah.
Right.
But it was like, but she also was like a little bit older, So,
Yeah.
But she was just so like, oh, I didn't know. But now I was like, okay.
It's like,
So I did sorry, go ahead.
I was just saying, I do remember this was like the first movie, I think, that I actually saw Hank Azaria. I had seen his name in the credits of like dozens of animations. Mm-hmm. And then it was like, oh, that's the dude,
Oh, I remember him being in Godzilla. I remember being like, oh, it's Hank Azaria from, okay. I found the thing that I sent you.
Oh.
I think I just went through a bunch of 80s and 90s movies and be like, all right, here's some crazy movies that I'm not sure if they were good or if they were awful or what they were. I've never actually seen Galaxy Quest. I know it's good, but
Oh, really? That's a fun one.
Galaxy Quest.
I've never seen Death Becomes Her.
I don't think I've seen that
I
either.
don't think I've seen that either.
That's
Maybe we'll do that.
Weird movie. The Return of Swamp Thing. I know we talked about that when the Swamp Thing TV show came out.
Oh, yeah.
Vampirella was apparently like it's a comic or whatever, and it was made into a movie in the late 90s.
Masters of the Universe.
Yeah, we had definitely Masters of the Universe. The original Judge Dredd.
Oh, yeah. Judge Dredd.
No, Demolitions Man is what they announced this week.
Oh, yes,
Demolition Man will be
Man.
good.
Wait, did you send that in the text or the email?
I sent an email.
Okay.
Dick Tracy. It's been so long since I've seen Dick Tracy. I don't even remember it.
Barbed Wire.
Oh, gosh,
Barbed Wire.
Howard the Duck. We could watch the original.
Ooh, yeah.
Heavy Metal.
Flash Gordon. I've never actually seen Flash Gordon. I've seen clips. I haven't seen, and I've heard the song, obviously.
It's hilarious.
I've never seen Superman 3 or 4.
Oh.
Actually, I might have seen 3. Yeah, I think I've seen 3. I've never seen 4 though, and I've never seen Supergirl, the movie.
I don't think I've seen that either.
Toxic Avenger.
Yeah, Toxic Avenger.
I watch the cartoons, but I don't think I've ever seen the movie.
Yeah, cartoons are not anywhere near.
Yeah.
Condor Man.
Oh, Condor Man.
Let's see, Mercury Man, Super
Yeah.
Ex-Girlfriend, another movie with Eddie Izzard in it.
I love Super Ex-Girlfriend.
Constantine. I've never seen
Weird
The Crow.
Science.
Ooh, Weird Science
really?
is a good one. I've never actually seen The Crow, which is a weird thing to say.
Oh, wow. The Crow's great.
Yeah.
Sky High, one of your faves.
I love Sky High. Classic, man.
I've never seen The Spirit.
I can't remember if I've seen that or not.
Oh, The Spirit.
That's Ron
yeah.
Perlman, right?
Yeah.
I've seen that.
We could rewatch Superman Returns
Oh, man. That's a rough one.
or Elektra.
Dude.
I love Jennifer Garner.
The original Ghost Rider. The Fantastic Four, and maybe even the original, like the 1992 Fantastic Four.
I would be
God.
down for that.
Or Hancock. I don't know if you've ever seen Hancock.
Hancock.
I don't think I've ever watched Hancock. Oh, no, that was Hitch we watched the other night,
Yeah.
Hitch.
which is the same thing. Just super.
Yeah, superheroes. Hitch was superheroes.
It's Will Smith.
It's Will Smith.
Will Smith being Will Smith.
Will Smith being drunk Will Smith. That's
Yeah.
So there's a lot of stuff here.
Yeah, there's
So
a
I
ton of
guess,
stuff.
yeah.
I don't know, man.
We'll figure it out. Hopefully, you guys, you throw some comments our way to help us narrow some idea of where to go next.
You know what would be interesting? I don't know if this would be enough to talk about completely, but we should watch before next week is the Mandalorian making of documentary series just started on Disney Plus.
Nice.
So it's a docu-series, so one episode released. I don't know how many there are in total, but I guess they're doing one every week or two now.
That would just be cool to
smart.
make comments.
So I think the episodes are about a half an hour, a little bit longer each. But they dropped it on May the 4th.
We could be like Mr. Rogers segment where we like, well, what's going on in the Mandalorian?
And
news
Rick and Morty is
today?
back.
Nuh-uh.
The first episode was on May the 4th.
Holy
funny.
moly,
So-
guys. the world is anew.
I'm avoiding all the nerd channels right now because they all talked about the first episode of Rick and Morty.
I don't think I've seen the last. Like, didn't they do like 4 or something?
They did 4 or 5 episodes. Yeah,
I haven't. I've only seen one of those. I think
they were Rick and Morty episodes, but they weren't at all like tied in with stuff.
Szechuan?
So people, I think, got a little upset with that. But I thought they were really good Rick and Morty episodes. Like,
I think so.
they were funny. But I'm interested in seeing when they're going to tie back to everything.
that
or
new
if it's
that new
it's gonna
show
be an
doesn't look
ongoing-
very good. It's like, oh hey, look, it's another version of Rick and Morty.
What show?
The new one that they're trying to promote.
Oh, Justin Roiland.
Yeah,
Yeah, because he's not with Dan Harmon on that one. It's somebody else.
yeah. It looks the same though,
Yeah, it was the same style, animation style.
and the same comedy-ish. You know.
Oh, wow.
okay.
I haven't seen that. What's it called?
I can't
don't
remember. I just keep seeing the previews for it. I keep going, nope.
Aw.
I mean, it could be good. I just don't know. Like, I feel like the fan base for Rick and Morty kind of turned me off quite a bit. So,
It turned me on, baby.
yeah.
I just like the show. Like, it always makes me happy to watch those episodes.
Oh, my God. It's like religion sometimes.
Yeah, well, I mean, it's just like a fun show because I can get deep into it, but I can just also have it on and just love the, like the fart jokes.
Yeah.
Shit on the floor.
Oh, God.
Again, another show I cannot watch with my children around.
yeah.
Oh, God.
Well, especially all the philosophical shit that Rick's like throwing around, like existence is like pointless and stuff.
Yeah, that's
It's one of the
not-
joys.
not a big fan of nihilism anyway, but
Yeah, it's a good role model show.
So we'll at least have that. We'll have like the Mandalorian making of and Rick and Morty by next week.
That's right.
And then whatever movie we pick.
All right, guys.
sounds good.
We like it.
And
Hope
we like
guys
you.
enjoyed. Yeah, we like you. Hope you guys enjoyed.
You should subscribe.
Yeah, and then bring it on back to yellow spandex. You know what? Just wear your spandex while you listen. That's what I do. All right, bring it on back. We'll see you next week on yellow spandex.